Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets today. Yesterday there were a lot of games and earlier started already morning time in US and it was reasonably good time to watch here in Europe as well. But Tommy, how do you spend your night watching all the games throughout it, or what was the plan?
Yeah, pretty much go browsing through all the games. So also the NFL playoffs, of course. So there was a lot of sports involved, and in my night, very exciting to have the games also in the prime time, of course, starting a little bit earlier for us. So no problem there. We finally got a little bit of surprises. Not a lot of them in the first couple of rounds, but now, for example, there was New Jersey beating Boston, of course, a little bit of a surprise there. Also. Detroit, who we don't really rate at all, got one over Carolina. So a couple of surprises against our predictions as well, but that's only natural to have a couple of games going against us as well. Overall, very good record again from the simulations. Not so much from our picks, but how about the other games that we were talking about? There were some nice value, but some trends that we went against in the other games.
Yeah, I think if we first go through our picks, we had Arizona over San Jose, and that home team won pretty easily, 5-3. It was tied first period, but then last two ones Arizona took over, and Phil Kessel showed why he's playing in that team as a leader. Then another game in our picks, Edmonton, but they couldn't continue their good form from the second game, and Montreal won pretty easily 5-1 in Alberta. So again, our picks were not so great, but like you said, the overall number was pretty good. So how much profit we've been able to make based on our simulation if we have been betting every game available?
Yeah, we've been profitable so far in all the categories. So side value, we have 19 correct, 11 wrong. The profit is 343 there. Also in money line, so just the winner of the game, 20 correct, 10 wrong, and profit of 423. And also now over under, so the totals, we have made a bet in 20 games, 12 of them correct and 8 wrong, with a profit of 320. So aside from our picks, our professional selections, the system works. So again, very profitable, and it seems that it's accumulating quite nicely over time. So let's keep this going, and hats off to the simulation engine here.
Yeah, I think you need to trust the machine, and sometimes think that you may not be the best expert in the world of NHL. But those few examples, like you said, about the simulations and then the historical track record, and we can pick two games. We discussed about Ottawa and Toronto yesterday. Simulations showed that Ottawa had some value, even though Toronto was the favorite in the game. And the historical data showed that Ottawa is not very good in back-to-back home games, and that was the case here. Toronto won 3-2, of course, tight game, but I think here the historical track record was backed up by the result. And another one, Minnesota was visiting a second game in LA against the Kings, and they won this one as well, overtime, but won anyway. And here we had a value in simulations for Minnesota, but then we didn't pick up this game because of the historical statistic trends that were against Minnesota and favoring LA Kings quite a bit. But here Kings are still in a rebuilding mode, and maybe the historical record doesn't play the role as it usually does for those teams that are more established, and the performance is somehow equal the previous seasons. But how about this upcoming night? There's only 2 games available, but what kind of bets you are planning to make?
Yeah, 2 games. So first, Pittsburgh is hosting Washington Capitals. Of course, Penguins disappointing to start the season. 2 games, 2 losses against their local rivals in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So not very impressive. Quite defensively, very unorganized looking team at the moment. Capitals then took 2 wins over Buffalo, which was expected. Washington Capitals, of course, a lot better team, one of the top teams in the East. We have been saying that the Penguins are a little bit declining already, and that's something that we've probably seen a bit. They're not that bad a team as they might have looked in the first games, but Capitals is a lot better, and they're always playing with a chip on their shoulder against the Penguins, of course. A lot of rivalry there from a couple of years back already. So we have Washington to win it with almost 58% in the simulations, while the odds are only 48. So really good odds for Washington, plus 110 for the away win in Pittsburgh. So that's the first pick. And then the second, Florida Panthers hosting Chicago Blackhawks. Florida opens their season now. They were supposed to play Dallas 2 times already, but they've been, of course, postponed due to the COVID thingy in Texas. So Florida, first game of the season. Chicago already played twice in Florida against Tampa Bay, lost both of them, but looked quite good in the second one, not so much in the first one. But the second game, despite all the injuries and all the problems, Chicago looked like a proper hockey team in that game. So with these odds, plus 135, a good pick. Of course, an underdog still. They have 47.5% in simulations, but the odds indicate about 40%. So there is a huge value for the underdog. Of course, away game, a little bit questionable there, but since they've been already in Florida for a couple of days, I think it plays down the home advantage of Florida Panthers. And also, of course, the first game of the season is always a difficult one for sure. Probably shouldn't show a lot of fatigue yet in Chicago team, because it's a young team, of course, and they've only played twice in about 5 days, so shouldn't be a problem there.
Yeah, I think Chicago is good pick here, because when we take a look of those historical track record during the last 3 seasons, they haven't been so great team, so their away win percentage is below 40, but their 3rd or more away games, so basically the tail end of the road trip, have been reasonably good. So win percentage for those games is 46.2, and this is their 3rd road game, like you said, and with a reasonably short travel between the locations and 1 off day there. I think they should be ready to rock in Miami.
Yeah, and like I said, they look pretty good against Tampa Bay in the second game. Dominic Kubalik and Patrick Kane, of course, seem to have found a little bit of their last season's form. So that's all in all for it's really important for Chicago now with Taves out, with Kirby Dach injured, Alexander Nylander out. So they need production from their first line, and they seem to have gotten somewhere along their level. So I'm expecting good things from that Blackhawks team.
Any further knowledge of Sergei Bobrovsky's status, because he's not starting in Florida, but naturally he is the number 1 goaltender there?
Yeah, Chris Driedger is set to start for Florida. He actually has taken a longer route to reach NHL, and he's a decent goalkeeper. Very good record last season in those few games he played, but of course still questionable of how well he can handle the first goaltender pressures. I'm not sure what's the status with Sergei Bobrovsky, obviously the number one keeper in the long run, but he has been listed as out tonight, but no further knowledge of what's the situation there. Let's keep an eye out on that one, especially for the future Florida Panthers bets and the simulations.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like I said, only 2 games tonight, but we find some value in both, and our target and our belief is that after these 2 games, our peak results are again positive, like the simulations have been from the start of the season.
Yeah, we have to win at some point.